Well, this is Baruch Fleischman here at the Tikkun Elevator Kola, inviting you to go into the deep inner space, searching along with me for the Shekhinah. We look for the light of Atzilus. We look to try to get as high, as close to the Ein Sof Baruch Hu as possible. That's what we're doing here, because if I think about, who I am or my background, so I get to see how beautifully Hashem has led me to a place where I could learn something like this. The thing is that since I come from a Baal Tshuva background, I'm very much aware of the people who are not religious, who are a lot of times really nice people, but their dating habits and how they run their families, some of their tastes. I've really gotten very far away from Judaism because I don't know too much about it. I should be speaking to them, but instead I find myself getting into more and more deeper places, and places where few people can go along with me. If you are listen to these shiurim, I'm not sure that anybody really does. Maybe it's just background noise that I see that there's a few people here and there that do listen to. This is a deep shiur. This is a shiur in deep inner space, searching for our neshamos. So we invite you to come along with us, and I'll do the best I can. How I try to set this up is that I try to read and translate what the RASHASH says. Since it's not, in your common Sidur, there are some things from the RASHASH that filter into the Sephardi Sidur, but basically there's nothing out there that tells you this path to Yichud, this path to coming as close to Hashem as possible. So this, like an introduction, it explained, this is my interest. I'm not a rabbi. I don't get paid for this. And we're not seeking that. We're looking for a chance to actually learn, to get deeper into this. Now, from yesterday and the day before, we're working on the Kriya Shema by the Karbanos. And apparently, from what I'm reading here, is that this is the sort of like the makabapatish of bringing the Mochin into Leah. Now, we understand that Leah, during the nighttime, that the Shekhinah, which is Rachel, falls into Galus. And we mourn for her. We have a Tikkun Rachel that we discuss in other different places. Here, though, we're thinking about actually bringing in the final Mochim. I think they're the Mochim that Katnas from other places that I've read into Leah. And also enters into God, to Zah, because it's a Kriya Shema, I guess, maybe, I don't know, it's because it's a Kriya Shema, also Mochim the Godless. But I don't think that the Mochim the Godless go into Leah. They're really reserved for Rachel, when the Yichud of the morning is supposed to take place. So what I want to do is I want to go back to the Hakdam of the Kavonas of Baruch Shem Kavod Malchus Olam Boed. I'll try to do as good a job as I can to read and translate to the best of my ability. So he says, "B'kavonos Baruch Shem Kavod yesh beis mini kavonos ve'eluhein." And this is the second half of the first one. Let me see if this light will help me a little bit more. And this is what we really want to learn right now. We started going over it yesterday. The question is what is Siki Gedera? What are we talking about? Siki Gedera means spice. Spice is toveling for the cholent, something like that. So he says that Tziki Gedera v'hem yud pa mem ekya. What are the Tziki Gedera? They're 10 times the name Ekya, which is a gematria 21, which makes it a 210. So it's yud pa mem ekya b'shutim, and the gematria of Tziki is 210. This is 100, 200, and 10. Malvush, and they are, what are these Tziki Gedera? So the Tziki Gedera is not like a sense of a tzavlin, which adds some spice or some taste, but this is actually a malvush of the chokmah, of the Chasadim and Gevuros, which are found in the Das of Zer Anpin. Remember, the Das of Zer Anpin is the middle line, and the middle line splits into two parts. So we have three mochim, which are called Chabad, Chachma, Bina, and Das. But the Das parts has Chasadim, the Das, and Gevuros, the Das, which makes four instead of three. Now, there's a little bit in the Yechezkel that talks about that. You got three, we give you four, you got four, it's actually three. They go over that some different beautiful things. The Zer Anpin, and he says the Nikudas Kesed the Rochel, it's going to actually go now. The Siki Gedera is going to be heading towards Rochel. Now Rochel is in Galus. Hanikra Kedera, she's called the pot, the Cholent pot. These mochi have to come in, that is the Tziki Kedera, have to come in with the Tziki Kedera. They ride along with a protection, which is a lavush. And that's the Tziki Kedera, and it goes along with this number 10 times 210. It's got 10 times 21, which is 210. Now, all we could do is just read it. So he says the rochel. So these are actually going for this light of the Ein Sof to enter into rochel, who's been in Galus. It has to have protection. It has to have a lavush. It can't be it has to be, the light has, what does a lavush do? It's mesmayat the light. It makes it more difficult for the light in its container to be able to transfer itself to a lower level, which is what we want to do, because we want to fill the Shechina. We want to fill Malchus. So he says the Nikudas Kesed the Rochel. Now we're going to send this down into the top of the head of Rochel, which is now beginning, as the daylight moves, is beginning to appear in its silus. So this is called Kedera. She's called Kedera. That's Malchus. Shehi b'gematria Elokem. Now here's, you have to add them up. He said the gematria of Elohim, the Yudin, is 300. I know that from someplace else. So if you take the name Elokem and you make it into a milui, it has 13 letters. So take that and put that together. And this is a technique that the Rav brings us, or the RASHASH brings us here. And I guess behind it is the Uri. He says, V'hei, then take that, then take the Hey Osios, that is Elokim, is 5 letters. So now you have 218. Shorsho, its root, V'hakolel. So I'm not what the difference is between a shorish and a kolel. I think there might be the same thing. So that gives you either 319 or 320, depending on how you add it up. Okay, so we're going to come over here. He had more on that, but I think it's a second kavana. So we'll see. I like to say that this is an exploration. So if you have the time to explore with me, bless you. And I'd like to hear from you, because I don't know who I'm talking to. It's, who's listening. So it says, we're going to say, now we're going to read it through and see if we can make some sense out of this. Now we got this idea that Siki Kedera, which is a lavush that covers over the mochim, that are going to go into the top of the head of Rochel. Remember, you have to have this lavush, otherwise Rochel would disappear. So he said, Yakavein lahamshech lenuk, Beis Pirkim dahod, the ben dezah. This is all left side of the ben of the left side of Zer Anpin. L'chein lo nirmazu ba'osios hapasuk. So therefore, l'chein lo nirmazu ba'osios hapasuk. So therefore, that's the reason why it's not referenced in the letters of the pasuk. Unfortunately, I don't know what pasuk he's talking about, so we're going to try to see if we can discover it. In the blurb, it says, Kavanas hakonas haschalkus haperkim the vok the zer anpin. Now we could translate that. The kavana of the preparation for, it doesn't say for, hakonas his chalkus haprakim, the kavana of dividing up the different joints of the arms and the legs. I don't know which one we're talking about. The Pirkim, the Vok Dezer Anpin, which refers to his arms, legs, and Yesod. V'cholokim l'Nook, and then part v'chalkom, and divides them up, the different portions that he's doing. Before we saw that we had the upper parak of Netzach and Hod joined together with the lower parak of the of Chesed and Gevurah, and that made 4 joints in Chesed and Gevurah. I don't know why he did that, but he did. So just reading it, we're exploring it. It's like you're out in outer space. No, we're in deep inner space, and we've never been here before. So we're explorers. So he says the Vok, the Za, which is the Chesed through Yesod of Zer Anpin, the Chalkam, and a portion of them are going to go to the Nook. Now he wrote that on the word Malchuto. Let's go back over here. And then he says Yekavid the Chamshik the Nook base Pirkim the Hod, the Ben Dezah, which is on the left side of Zer Anpin. So let's talk about Zer Anpin. He's going to be feeding the females. So he's on the left side. Is that the reason why? So he said, Yekavid the Chamshik the Nook base Pirkim the Hod, the Ben Dezah, L'chein lo mirmizul ba'osis apostle. So therefore, this is the kavana. There is no reference to it. Lo nirmizul ba'osis apostle. It doesn't have to do specifically with what's going on in these letters. Malchuto, I think that's what he's talking about. In other words, we had a thing like we said that this is. Let me show it up better. Sorry. Like this is the word Baruch. It's 4 letters. Then you have the word kavod, also 4 letters. So there he talked about the matchup of the 4 letters with the 4 joints, which leaves you 2 joints down below, right? Because you moved each. Maybe it's not given. Each of the arms and the legs has 3 joints. Well, you could see that yourself. From your body, you could see the formation that was made by the Ein Sof. So he said that somehow, don't ask me how, the hip joins with the upper part of the hip, joins with the lower part of the arm, which I guess maybe would be the hand, I'm not sure, but it makes 4 parts, and therefore we had that. And so this word Malchuto doesn't follow that. It's a 6-letter word. Has I got this right? It's a 6-letter word, but we don't have a correspondence. So he says, since Yekavein Lahamshech Lanok base Pirkim the Hod the Ben. We're going to give her the leftover Pirkim the Hod the Ben the Zah. That's on the left side of Zah. V'chein lo nir bezochu ba'os. It's a pasuk, so therefore we don't need a pasuk. I'm not sure, or actually say something specific about the letters. Reading on. So he said Yekavein lamalos dalal lafem shebekes delea. Now we had the situation over here where we had these 4 alafim, right? Aleph, 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 and then each one of them contained 4. Now all of this is significant, but this is what he's saying. Let's take those alephs, Yekavin the malos dalal alafim. Let's have this idea to fill 4 different alafim shebekesser that are found now, that were found in the Kesler Delea, because remember we put in the Chaba Delea, we filled up our Kesser. And now they look like this. Each one of them is a gematria, 111. So there's 440. I think 111 times 111, that 4 111s is 441, which is a highway outside. It's around Boca Raton, not far from me. So at any rate, he says, you make it look like this. This is your kavana. Once again, trying to understand kavanas. Kavanas are like a cookbook. It's bigger than me. So I have to look at it and see what it is. This is the kavana. He says, change the simple olives that we had in the previous page into a milui, which looks like this. So then he says, V'sheres ha'akev oros. Now, so this is a given. Apparently, the rest of the 172 lights. How do you get to 172? They go like this. There are dollar times hey, yud, hey in a milui, like that. The dalad ekyas are the two ekyas. So you take the milui and you stretch it out over 4 different times. Just take the milui. The aleph, let's say it stays. It stays. So since the alafim stayed, each one of us is 111, what's left over? So he said what's left over apparently is 172 on the Shazal. I'm not adding it up. It says this is 15 and 20 is 35 and plus 15, 50. So that's 1, 2, 3, that's 150. And then there's a fourth one, which is 160, 170, 190. So what have I got here? I don't know. So doing the best I can. Again, he said, V'she'eris ha'ekev, which is 172 lights, shehem dalad hey yuds. So this is how you get it. You take the name hey yud k. The dalad ekya, just take the last 3 letters. Base the yudin, v'echa the alafim, and then you have another 2, which instead of being spelled like hey yud k, where would they spell it? Would be k, they would be spelled K aleph K aleph K, and the K's will change, or K K K K. If you take those and you add them up, which I should do, but I'm not going to, in the interest of time. The lofim, the hey, and you put all those to the hamshich and the leah, and what you're going to do is you're going to send these to Leah. Now, this could be read again by me and studied again by me and come into this a little bit more sharp on what this 172 is, but he's giving it to us, and he's saying if you add up all of these things like this, is going to come to 172. The top part, the aleph itself, is going to stay. That's why I think it's going to laham shichan. So we want to take these. We just divided them up. He said we're going to divide everything up. So we're going to send them to Leah, but Bikadon as a deposit, Letzorek Rachel, to be held there for Rachel as she begins to appear in Olam Tzilos. Right now in Tzilos is Yaakov and Leah, Zeranpin and Leah. So let's go to the next blurb. He says, "Kavanas hamshachos milui alafim." What's the kavana there? We're gonna take the miluyim on. Just leave the aleph behind. Shanim sagoch the kesser the leah that were originally that are put into the kesser of leah. The ekev oros that is ekev. That's at number 172. Oros the dalad hey yuds k's. So we're gonna have the 172 lights that can be found in the ways that he spelled Hey Yud K, Malayim Medalad Ekya. So it's just this part right here, but Hey can be spelled more than one way. It can spell 3 different ways. Hey Yud, Hey Aleph, and Hey Hey. And then Meshachim Lalea, and all of this goes to Leah. Okay, so it's clear that what he's doing, that's what he said. I mean, he said he's going to divide this up, and we're going to try to get it. What we want to do is get it to Rachel. Because what's happening, and right now I'm going through saying this shir through the Vesikin time, and this is when the actual appearance of Rachel begins to grow. Tremendous yichud has the potential to take place right at this time. Let's go on some more. Vata yashbel rosha. Then what you should do, lower your head. V'yakave lahamshek l'Rachel, and this is your kavana. You're going to send to Rachel a Sarah Akia, 10 Akias. Here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and the same thing over here. So he says this is a Lavush, these Akias. Now, every time we see Akia in the RASHASH now, I'm beginning to realize that he really means Akia, and part of the word Akia. So we just had Hey Yud K, K Yud K. So he apparently attaches them to Well, let's say here they are, to 5 ekyas. Now, the ekyas are lavush. That's what I was trying to say. Okay, va'ata yashbil rosho, lower your head. And when you're doing that, yakavi lahamshik, the rochel, have this kavana to extend down into rochel. A Sora ekya, 10 different ekyas. Shehem gematria tziki, which come to the gematria tziki. This is the tziki, the gedera. He says that these ekyas are levushim. Miyud levushi hachug would come from the 10 levushim. They cover over 5 for the chasadim and 5 for the guros. Shebedas the zer anpin, which exists in the dan zer anpin of Etzilus. Now you have to understand, if you're an explorer, I mean, this is my opinion, that you have to realize that Etzilus is really letter combinations in a lot of different ways. What produces them, I don't know. But he shows it to us. Why? So we can aim at it. That's the idea of a Gavana. So he writes over here in the box, the blurb in the box. Gavanas hamshachas tziki kedera melevushi hachug dedas, which are the garments of the chasadim and the gevuras found inside of das, the zer anpen. Linkudas hakesef the rachel, to the nkuda, just the dot of the kesef of rachel. That is the kesef de rachel that has been in galus. That's why I think I remember that. So what did that mean? It meant that all of rachel is not in galus, but the head is everything. So you have a body without a head. You have no direction. Now when he said, Va'ata yashbel rosho, I did that already. Okay, so this is all going to go where? The Nikudas Hakesef, the Rachel Ha'omedet Bebriyahu. She's right now, the top of her head is just below, let's say, she's still below water. The top of her head is wanting to emerge as the sun comes up. She comes up with it. Bebriya Hanikra Kedera, she's called a Kedera, remember that. Kamisper Elokim de Yudin, and he goes back over it again, which he said previously, which is the same gematria as Elokim de Yudin, which is 300, plus 13 letters of the Milui. V'hei Osius Shorsho, and the 5 letters of its root, and the Kolel. So, I'm not sure exactly how we got to 320, because I think that's 319. Let me try it again last time. Kedera is the Ikamisbar Elokim is 300 plus 3 plus 13 plus 5 is 18 plus the root Osis Hakolel v'Hakolel. Now, to understand what the Kolel is, I thought that Kolel was the Shorish. So he says V'hei Osius Shorsho. That's 5, that gives you 18, but HaKolel is 19. So it's 319. It still needs a 320, but I don't know how that works. Then he shows us, well, I guess this is what's going. It says Gematria Shin. If you take this name, okay, add up the different letters, that is the Elokim de Milui Yudin. That's what it's called. It's a gematria of 300. Elokim always means din or something like that. And so just tracking it and looking at it. Then he does it again, twice. 2 shins. But the second time, instead the formula is not that we take 300 and 300. We take 300, and here he shows you the 13 letters of the Milui, Yud Gimel Osius, and then the name itself, the Pashut Elokim, is 318, and he says, V'chakolel, you take the kolel, it's 319. I'm still only getting 319, but okay. And here's where we're going to finish here. We're actually getting through Malchuto, and understand this is a meditation that underneath the kotel, one of those, I guess it's a cave under the kotel, there's things there going on. They're under wraps besides. There is a Vasika minion there that actually is into this. So it says, Yekavin la'alos perik elyon deho dema. Then we saw this before. This is the same blurb. The kavana is like this: to elevate the upper parak of the Hod, which is the left line of the right line of Zeir Anpin. Remember, everything is male and female as you get closer to the bottom. So Hidma Deza, Im Gimel Pirkei Gevura together added to the three prakim, which would be, say, the shoulder, the elbow, and the hand of the left side of which is Gevura. Hari Dalit Pirkim Begevura Deza. So now Gevura Deza has 4 per Pirk prakim. Now, is it pronounced Pirkim? I'm not sure which one is Aramaic, I think. So he said, obeys Pirkim Dehod, then also 2 prakim, here Pirkim Dehod, Dema. So now you have leftover. So you took the top one. There's 3 on each. There's the hip, there's the knee, and there's the ankle, let's say. Ankle and the foot. And you take the top one and you attach it to the hand of the side of Gevura, of the male side. And now you're going to Ubeis Pirkim Dehod are left behind because you attach number 3, or number 1, depending on your count, number 1 to number 3, that is the number 1, which would be the hip. You've attached it to the hand of Zeir Anpin. Is that right? Yeah. Of the right side, the Hod Duma, Yekavin l'hashi'irim b'hod dezah. Have the idea now you're going to have 4 pieces there in the Hod dezah. Ogonegdim valod vav osius malchuso, and corresponding to them are the 6 letters of the word malchuso. Now, how did he get this? We're going to read it one more time. Yekavin la'alos perik elyon dehod dema dezah, of the right side of zah. Now, why Hod, but Hod? In Gimel Pirkei Gevura, with the 3 prakim of Gevura. So that makes in Gevura you have Daled prakim, the Gevura. So he says, the Zah. You talk about the Zah. The Zah is now building up his upper part. So base Pirkim the Hod, then there are 2 prakim that have to do with Hod that were left behind. Dema on the male side of Zeir Anpin. Yekavin l'sheirim b'hod, you have to have the kavanah to leave them in Hod. The Zeir Anpin. And he says, Konegdam vav osius malchuso. So he says, what? You're going to leave the 2 lower prakim in the Hod of the Ma. He's not telling me that Hod is one of the 10 spheros. And Ma is like the parts of here, the male parts of. Yekavin l'hashi'irim b'hod. So leave him there in the Hod Dezah. Ognegdam, and then corresponding to those are going to be vav osios of the word malchusa. Now, I don't really see this. I understand malchusa 6 letters, but I don't see the connection here to the lower 2 prakim of Hod. That's the Hod Dema, the Zah. I don't know. So excuse me these string of letters, but we're trying to find any kind of markers. We're like here in deep inner space, trying to get as close as possible to the Ein Sof Baruch Hu. So he says, Kavonas hakonas his chalkos haperkim. So the kavana of the preparation for the division of these different prakim, the vok, the zah. Now, there's a Rav Shik who has taught me a lot. He always said, though, don't give up hope when you can't understand it, because you might be describing something bigger than you've ever seen before. So, well, at least that's the sentiment that I felt from him. So don't give up. I'm not going to give up, because I really don't know. What is this big deal about the 4s? What's the 3s? What are we trying to do? Why are we building up the chesed and gevura of Zeir Anpin? by adding on basically the top program of Netzaganot. What are we doing here? Anyway, that's it. This is Baruch Fleischman. This has been the Tikkun Elevator Call Out.